Good.
All right.
Ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the regularly scheduled October 16th meeting of the Sylvania Township Board of Trustees at 7 o'clock.
Mr. Haddad? Here. Mr. Mahoney?
Here.
Mr. Genowine?
Here. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the meeting minutes for October 2nd.
I didn't see any changes.
No. So we'll present the minutes
As submitted.
Accept the minutes as
presented.
Yep. Okay.
Yes, sorry.
We'll have a motion by Mr. Haddad, second by Mr.
Second.
Genowine, or Mr. Haddad,
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
Mr. Genowine.
Yes. Additions or deletions?
I have one addition under the administrator, item number 6, discussion on the regular meetings for November 6th. I also want to discuss budget hearing meetings too. For discussion.
Okay. Hearing of the public on specific agenda items?
Nobody signed in.
Okay. Zoning Department, Darrell, you're up.
Yep.
Good evening. The monthly report for September, we had 34 permits, down a little bit from last year when we had 41, but up from 2 years ago when we had 21. And the estimated value is just under $2.4 million, which, again, is way down from last year, but way up from 2 years ago. And an encouraging sign is we had 7 residential dwelling permits for the month of September. And if you look at that, we had 7 for the last 2 years combined, so I think we're kind of pulling out of it a little bit. As far as meetings, we did have a zoning commission meeting that was canceled, nothing on the agenda. For Board of Zoning Appeals, Panera Bread and the variance for 2727 Holland, Sylvania were continued to the October meeting and then continued to the November meeting. 5965 Renaissance Place was a variance for parking. That was the only item on the agenda for that month for the BZA, and that was denied. And that's all I've got.
Sounds good.
Did you find out anything about that property? No.
Marsville?
Yeah. No. I know Marsville. We're still.
Oh, that other one. Yeah, I thought you were coming in last night. I've got
Okay, I'll get it.
in my office. I've got
No problem. Thanks.
to work on it.
Okay.
Thanks, Darrell.
Yep.
Thank you.
Next item is the Public Works Department. Unless, Greg, you have anything? You want maybe leaf pickups are ready to go? And
Yeah, they started already.
Picking up leaves and household pickup is 2/3 complete.
Good.
Wow.
going smoothly.
Yes, very.
And I would have to guess that the amount of debris is way down this year?
Considerably, yes.
Any attribute, anything, just the time of the year we did it at, or just,
That could be, that's probably the largest reason,
okay.
yeah.
Or you can't see it underneath the leaves?
Next item is the Fire Department. And Chief, your monthly report.
Good evening. You have before you the September report. Let's go to page 2 real quick. You'll see that our fire runs are up, actually almost doubled from the previous year, although our total runs at the bottom are under what we ran for the total year. Page 3, auto accidents are up significantly, as well as cardiac-related emergencies. And you'll see at the bottom of the page that we're up year-to-date totals from last year-to-date over just shy under, looks like about 58 runs. Page 4, you'll see the mutual aid incidents. I know that you continue to have to watch this closely as well as I do. We received mutual aid from Springfield Township on an occasion for a fire. We gave mutual aid, provided mutual aid to Springfield Township for 2 incidents. One was a fire, one was an accident. And we also gave mutual aid to Spencer Township. That's the bottom incident at 450 Eber Road for an injury accident that they had. On page 5, public safety education, we had a total of 7 public safety events in September, 3 apparatus displays, and 3 public education events with 1 station tour. Building project plan reviews were up. We're at 13 plan reviews for the month of September. The crews, the engine companies and truck companies accomplished 450 inspections or re-inspections of commercial properties during the month. Page 6, the training was at King Road that month. We went ahead and practiced live burns in our burn tower. We have two rooms in that tower that we can get up to 1,500 degrees. So crews practice their skills at putting the real fire out instead of fake fire. And our Lucas County EMS continuing education, we're back. That's at the top of the page there, Joe. We're back now with our CE sessions, September, October. Our last session is in November, and we'll be done for the year. Page 7, we have a thank you letter that was written to our engine company, A-Shift Engine 62, for the great job that they did at the back-to-school fair. Page 7, another school tour that they did with the guys, came out to the preschoolers and went ahead and showed them the engine and went through some fire safety drills that we have for the youngsters. The next page is Sean Woodcock and Jim Wolf showing the youngsters the engines and all the equipment. And then the last page is, again, showing the kids what we look like in a fire. We put the mask on and the air pack and whatnot because we don't want the kids to be scared of us and hide from us when we go into the fire. There's a syndrome called Darth Vader syndrome, so when they hear us breathe out of that air pack, they're frightened and they go hide, so we dress up for them and show them what we're going to look like when we come in. That's all I have for the monthly report. I have one real quick note, and I'll make this part of my report for the month of October, but this last Saturday we had our first fire safety festival. I must say that Lieutenant Chad Morris came to me about 3 months ago and asked me if we could do this project, and we had an actual festival at our No. 4 firehouse. I was a little leery about it, but Chad did all the groundwork. He contacted all the vendors. He got donations for a vast majority of the money that we spent for the safety festival. He got all the information to the schools. All the kids participated, and he got the directions to them. We had about 300 to 350 visitors that we saw that day. We gave out almost 700 pieces of pizza at the event. We gave bikes to the individual classes and kids that participated in the fire safety drills. They had to draw a plan up on 2 ways to get out of the house. And we had to mow the fire clown, and I'll have some pictures for you. They say firemen aren't clowns, but I got a great picture of Mow the fire clown. It is actually Lieutenant Bennett who does this on the side, fire clown, and has a nice program he gives to the kids. So he was out there also making balloons for the kids. So it was a bit overwhelming. I think we didn't anticipate having that number of kids there. We also spent a lot of time with the parents showing them the equipment and answering any questions that they had about the fire service. And one of the comments that came up quite often was, I didn't realize you fire guys did so much stuff. So hopefully that will, when and if we do decide to go for levy in the future, that will help us out. I intend to make that an annual event now that we had so much success with it. But I'll have a report in next month's monthly report.
I've gotten feedback on it already, and it was very well received within the community, and you guys did a great job, and thanks for spearheading that. And, I think it does go a long way to show the community and
Sure.
that you're part of the community. So
Right.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Great work.
Any questions? Thanks, guys.
Okay, next item is the Police Department. Chief, your monthly report.
Good evening. On page 2, you'll see the calls that we received in our dispatch. Of note, the police calls for service. They go into the CAD system at 1,315 reports for the month. On the top of page 3, you'll see that number for that month puts us about 1,000 ahead, a little over 1,000 ahead from the same time last year, 2011. Our tickets are down. Our parking tickets are up. Our property damage accidents are down, but our injury accidents are up, as you can see with the numbers. Burglaries are up slightly. Robberies were way up. Domestic violence down. Assaults up. OVI's down. And we're up slightly with our theft reports. And for all the other type reports, which can be incident reports that don't document a crime or what, we're at about the same amount. The next page, page 5, just a list of a few cases of note. Nothing terribly, I want to say, dramatic in those. You will note that report 1816, 1924, and 1927 are all related to drugs. And like I've said before, there are a lot of drugs out here. There's a drug problem, as there are in most suburbs. A lot of our thefts, a number of our robberies and such are all, unfortunately, drug abusers. So that's a very big problem. Page 6, cases assigned. For some reason, it didn't print out at the top the total cases assigned for September. That number would be 67. September cases cleared 34. Then what is actually noted on the paper, that actually leaves 33 cases still active that were assigned in September. The prior month's cases cleared in September, there were 12 of them. So that actually totals 46 cases cleared in September. And you can see the breakdowns there. Page 7, I won't read a whole lot there, other than you can see some of the activities of our officer that's a member of the DEA task force. Page 8, community affairs. Our 3 DARE officers continue to teach in DARE. We're currently in Hillview, Central, and Whiteford. We traditionally do those in the fall, and then Stranahan in the spring of our 4 elementary schools. Between the 3 community affairs officers and Sergeant Whalen, I will say too, you'll see in their schools, the first item, we continue to visit the junior highs, Timberstone and Arbor Hills, on a frequent basis, once or twice a day, just for a very visible police presence, something we hadn't done in the past. But just to get the faculty comfortable with us, the students know that there's going to be a police officer around, and it's surprising the little things that come up when you're there on a regular basis. So we have the luxury of being able to do that, especially since we don't have an SRO in either of the high schools at this point. We had the drug drop-off at the police station on September 29th. It's not listed here, but I believe we collected 88 pounds of prescription drugs, pretty amazing amount. That's been a real good program. It was advertised, you probably heard it on the radio, and I believe very well received. And I believe that's all I have. If you have any questions, on page 12, you might see, just in the interest of, again, to see what we're doing as far as the DEA, the officer in the DEA task force, that continues to be a good deal for us. First and foremost, we're putting drug traffickers in such a way, but you can see that total represents $26,719.53 that we were able to put in our drug law enforcement account, or one of our 3 accounts, our 32 account, 22 account, or 25 account. And then the fine money from Sylvania is down there listed at the bottom that we get monthly. So with that, in the interest of being brief, if you have any questions.
So you guys are going to be revenue neutral here in about a year or 2?
Well, yeah, you never know.
We can keep working in that direction.
Okay.
Good job.
Thanks.
Good job.
Nice work, Chief.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chief. Next item is, under the administrator, I have one resolution. Annually in October, we get the rates as certified by the Budget Commission for township levies.
We then have to authorize the Lucas County Auditor to put those levies on the tax duplicate. Basically, we have three departments that get levy funds. It'd be the fire department, the police department, and the senior levy. We're responsible for their levy, so we put that on our tax rates.
Resolution 12-143, adoption of 2012 tax rates.
Second.
Why are we responsible for the senior levy on that?
It's through the township.
It was before my time, but it was agreed upon that the township, since everybody voted on it in the area, the township would be responsible for it, and there was a provision in the law that allowed everybody, city of Sylvania and the township, to vote on it. And since it is a township-wide, not just a city of Sylvania-wide, the township is responsible for it. And they agreed at the time to take the responsibility for it. The money basically comes in, and then we
Issue it
disperse
back
it.
Transferred over to the senior center.
Yeah.
Why doesn't it work that way with the park districts and stuff? Is that,
I couldn't tell
same
you.
footprint,
Because
isn't it?
municipalities can collect their own as well as, then it would be countywide
Well,
and other stuff.
The park district is its own, actually, political entity that
Right.
can
Okay.
put its own levy on.
Okay.
The seniors have no power to put levies on, so
Okay.
somebody had to do it for them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
My next item is a discussion for their regular meeting in November 6th, and also for budget hearings. I'll go to the calendar here. As you know, the election is on Tuesday, the 6th, we have a regular scheduled meeting. We have many alternatives. What we can do is we can just cancel that meeting and go to the 20th. We can move it to another day, or we can always have a special meeting if something comes up. On top of that, I sent an email out just for discussion. I'd like to see us have budget hearings on the 13th at 3 o'clock and the 27th at 3 o'clock. And so if that's okay at this time, where we can discuss it, we would do a 3 o'clock budget hearing on the 13th, a 3 o'clock budget hearing on the 27th, and then there's no guarantee, but my proposal would be to pass the budget December 4th, which would be our first meeting in December. If everything goes right. For their actual action tonight, we have to determine what we're going to do for
November 6th.
November 6th. So I'll leave it up to the trustees to discuss it, how they want to do it.
I don't have a problem with it, John, as far as, we can always do a special meeting if it becomes an issue that we need to get together before.
So we could just cancel, I mean,
Yeah.
one of the methods is just cancel it, go to the 20th, and then if something comes up, even though we know we'll be here Thursday,
We can add it on for the
we can
agenda.
add it on the
Yeah.
agenda as a special meeting, so if that's okay.
The 13th, I've got a conflict, but maybe we can work that out. The other thing, I do know that Susan had mentioned to me that she was hoping that open enrollment would start the week of the 20th. So we would have to approve
October or
November.
November, okay.
So we would have to approve whatever the health insurance committee would recommend on or before that date.
Okay. Well,
So if, when we do get the budget meeting nailed down to a time, I would think that we would just have a meeting, special meeting, an hour or a half hour before the budget meeting, or 10 minutes before.
so it sounds like I hear consensus that we are just going to cancel the regular meeting on the 6th.
That'd be fine.
And
Yes,
so that's the only thing we need to do tonight, is
okay,
cancel that.
sounds good.
And we'll notify the public in the newspaper,
Okay.
Okay.
okay? And I think that's all I have. That's all I have, and now it's up to, one thing, Dave, did you get the motion and the seconds on the tax levy? Was that
Yeah, I already did that.
No, I mean, we have to record it on that.
Did we call the roll on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Okay, good, all right. Yeah, we did, yeah. It was Kevin and Neil.
Yep.
Kevin made the motion?
Yes,
And Neil
Kevin
seconded.
made the motion, Neil second.
The reason I ask is because we actually have to fill that in.
Yeah, right, yeah.
With that, I'll turn it over to you, Dave.
Just quickly, we have the September month-end analysis, and you see it there in front of you. A couple of quick, interesting things with road and bridge and the police fund, we are at 100% of what our projected revenues are, a little over in road and bridge. We do have a few, on the fire fund, I think there are 2 more EMS contract payments that need to come in. And so we anticipate, though, that all of the funds, including all the funds, will be at the over 100%, or right at 100% or slightly over by year's end on our revenue side. And then, so that's good. I mean, we do our own forecasting, but also we rely on the Treasurer's Office to help us with that too. So they're usually, frankly, really pretty good at their estimates for us. And then on our expenses, on our expenditures, you can see that everyone is below. We should be at 75% would be the number for at the end of 9 months, and we are below in each of our funds. Road and bridge, this is kind of fleeting because they're going to catch up quickly, because I think we need to make another payment on our for the Ohio Department of Public Works. We owe 1 more payment, and so I think then while we're down a little now, we will be making that payment. We will catch up to the other departments on expenditures, but we really aren't in any danger there of overexpending. And so, you know, it's the department managers that are frankly managing their budgets that the trustees set. And so I think our financial situation continues to be good this year. I do have a couple of motions to offer to the board, and first is 12-140, and it's for the private purpose trust fund, where we have in place Section 125 funds, needs to reimburse the general fund for monies individuals did not use during the year the fund has been in use. So that is a little over $18,000 fund, and so I'd ask the trustees to approve this motion, this resolution.
What was it, the private?
It's called a private purpose trust fund, but we use it for the 125 employee plan. And when you set that up, employees withhold money from their paychecks and then, use the 125. Well,
The health savings?
Pardon me?
The health savings?
Yes. And a lot of times they won't use their full amount.
Yes.
So this is from 2004 through 2011 that the monies were not used. And this is what we're billing the general. We're going to send a bill from the general fund to put the money back into the general fund.
This is one of those rare instances where the IRS says if the employee doesn't use it, he loses it.
He'll lose it.
Yeah.
If he gets the tax deduction from his paycheck.
And we get to put that into the general
Yes,
fund?
general fund.
Yes, by law.
Wow. Okay. I'll offer Resolution 12-140 to increase the appropriation from the unencumbered balances.
Second?
Mr. Hedden?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
I have Resolution 12-141, and there's shortages in the water and sewer account, so we're going to be doing a transfer of appropriations in the general fund and the image silo project in the fire fund. So these are small sums, they're about $1,200 each, transferring from building repairs and scanning services to a water sewer expenses of image silo.
Offer Resolution 12-141, transfer of appropriations.
Yep. Thank you. I was going to do it, but second, whatever.
Okay. Mr. Hedden?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
And lastly, we have a Resolution 12-142. It's a approval of payment on the then and now, a purchase certificate. And payment, it would be a payment to the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council for software maintenance of Norris and CRS. Needs to be made. It's a $6,900 payment. You can see it there on the board. Unfortunately, it's a then and now, but now and then these happen. Jim, you have any information for us?
Other than, I did have to talk to the chief on that one. I don't know why a purchase order wasn't cut. I mean, it's in the budget, but there was just no purchase order cut in time. So if you get an invoice and it's dated before the purchase order is cut, it has to be a then and now, and that's what it is.
I don't remember the details, but Nancy had explained it was something Norris had bumped up a bill to us or whatever. It's a quarterly obligation, and they changed their billing cycle kind of thing.
Okay.
But I don't remember exactly the details on it.
I'll offer Resolution 12-142, improvement payment of the then and now purchase certificate.
Second.
Mr. Adia?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Gentleman?
Yes.
I don't have anything else for the table.
Thanks, Dave.
Did we have anybody sign in for?
I have open discussion real brief. because
Okay.
Nobody signed in.
I was just going to discuss openly about the clout meeting. I was in Columbus yesterday for 3 hours for the clout meeting, because thank God we have a member on the executive board now instead of just, knowing what goes on too late after they make decisions. We went through the priority list of what we're going to deal with this year to appeal to the legislature during a lame duck session. Number one is going to be speed limit on township roads, which is going to permit townships to set their own speed limits if we want to and not have to go through the county. So if we have roads that we want to reduce or raise speeds on, we can do that of our own accord. Number two is going to be tax abatements that we can give to where there are cities and townships that are connected, where we can do incremental tax financing and stuff like that if we want to help out groups, if they want to come into businesses into the township. Number three on the priority list was protection of all revenue streams. So that way, the counties and the states can't take away our revenue funds. If they want to start taking our money away, we can still say no to that. Number four was JED clarifications, where we're going to go with JED, J-E-D-D, and J-E-D-Z, I'll say it properly. So those are going to be where we can be able to work on those and have more input on those with the cities that are going to offer those to the townships if we want to collect income tax. And last but not least was discharge of firearms in large urban townships, because I've been getting complaints from some of the residents where they're shooting guns and they're in a district where they can, but they're worried about their children playing and somebody, a stray bullet hitting them and getting shot. So those are going to be the 5 things we're going to appeal to legislation this year. And if you guys want a copy of this, John has a copy of it for you guys, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, that's all.
Okay. No one signed in, so
No.
at this time, I would like to offer a motion to adjourn at 7:28.
Second.
Hold on a second.
Hey, Mr. Adia?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Play ball.
Wasn't bad.
Okay, got it.
We'll attribute it to Susan not being here.
Yeah.